Good evening, everyone. Glad you guys are here. I'm just trying to get all my ducks in a row and get my stuff together. Let me know if y'all can hear me. I got a new mic. I listened back to the way the last show was, and it's really muffled sounding. Who we got here tonight? Gene Fox, Green Mountain Droning, and there's Butch and Sandra and Paul. I seen him on there somewhere. There he is. Good evening, guys. How are y'all doing? Am I coming in loud and clear? There's Brett. Hey, buddy. It is what it is. Brother Sam. Good to see you guys. And Sharon. Howdy, howdy. Oh. All right. I wanted to... I just had a few updates and just wanted to chat a little bit with... I don't know if you guys seen the last encounter that I had put up. There's Carla. How are you doing? Good to see you guys. Good to see everybody. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Paul. Paul Tavares. If you guys seen that last encounter, the one I just did, the area where I went to do that encounter, I had ran into a couple. I thought it was at the gas station, but it was at where we get our feed for the goats. There's Brother Keith. Good to see you, bud. Absolutely. And Michael Bishop. Good deal. Thank you. Thank you so much. Michael says the new mic sounds better. Good deal. That's what I was looking for. But this couple I ran into, an older couple, and they have horses, and he was telling me about their riding their horses down a horse trail, and they were harassed by a Sasquatch. And we got to talking, and he had told me the trail he was on, and I know that area. Hey, Susan. And there's Amy. Good to see you guys. Thank y'all for jumping up over and hanging out with us for a little while. But what had happened? Oh, Applicator 40. Oh, good to see you. Oh, everybody's showing up. That is amazing. But that area, this couple, they're retired. They have several horses, and that's what they do. They just ride their horses. And he gave me the general idea of where the trail was where this happened. I can't get to the area where the actual incident occurred because we don't have four-wheel drive, and my little car is not going to go through that sand. But I got within, I guess, a mile from that area, 3/4 of a mile. Randy Hester. Oh, thank you, buddy. We love you as well. Absolutely. But what had happened, they were riding their horses, he and his wife, and the horses were getting spooked for a long ways. They were riding for half hour or so, and the horses kept looking back, and they were real skittish. And he said, finally they heard what he thought was monkeys, like somebody's pet monkeys had gotten out. It sounded like a couple of them. And the horses got to where they started stopping. They were trying to keep the horses walking, and they would stop and were looking back. And finally, one of the times they looked back, they seen it. The wife had seen it. And she just kind of pointed to her husband to look. And when you look back there, there was a Sasquatch that was trailing in behind him off to the side. And when they would look back at him, he would tuck in behind a tree, but the trees there aren't big enough for an adult human to stand behind, much less something as large as these guys. And it ended up, they kept pushing forward. They didn't want to turn around and go back toward it. The long way was to continue straight ahead, and they continued on that path to get home because they didn't want to turn around and come towards where this thing was. And they got out of there without harm. They had no problems. nothing happened. It spooked the horses. They were acting kind of out of place for how the horses' nature is for those two horses. He said they're really calm. They're old horses, but they were very upset that thing was behind them. And I went to that area, wanted an area to film that encounter to get some footage, and I stopped about a half a mile from that location, and I went back and I had almost the entire encounter filmed. And then a truck comes by. I was probably 300 yards from the dirt road, and this truck comes by, and he had the loud radio booming, and they were hollering and cutting up. And there's a boat ramp about 100 yards behind where I parked my car. And they parked there at the boat ramp, got out and started shooting guns. And I had all that mess on the recording. And so I packed up and I went, and I had to do it 3 times before I got it right. Ellen Payne, welcome to our family. Bigfoot Mama, you almost slipped by. I almost didn't see you. But I ended up, when I was pulling out of there, I forgot that horse trail crosses the road that I was on. From what I remember, it had went all the way up, not around the road, but it went all the way further up toward the highway and crossed. And I didn't remember it crossing there. It's been 25 years since I was over there. And so I seen the trail, and I backed up, and they had the yellow band painted on the tree, which is signifies the horse trails. And I think the walking trails are purple or red. I don't remember. Dennis Brooks, good to see you, buddy. God bless you. But I found the trail. I pulled off the side of the road, and I walked down it. And there were a lot of very peculiar tree breaks in that area. It could have been natural. I'm not saying it was Sasquatch. I don't know. But some of it just looked really out of place. Most of the trees were broke. I think it was facing the west or the southwest. I don't recall. But they were broke the same direction, most of them that were in there. And then there were these oddball ones that were broke the opposite direction. And if you lined one up, stood at the trunk of it, and looked down it, about 50 yards further away, there was another one in line. And further down, there'd be another one. And it was just a really weird area. Well, I went in there and I found 4 trees that the end one, it was big. It was a big tree. It was bent all the way over, still alive, about 6 feet. Further from it was the second one. It was bent over, laying on top of that one, and it was still alive. About 6 feet up from that one was the third one, and it was bent over, but it was dead. And then about 6 feet further up, there was a fourth one, and now it was broke. The second one was half of it was broke. It had a split, and the first tree was laid in the split where it had broke. It was for it to land that way naturally would have been a 1 in a million shot, but it can happen. It could very well be natural, but it was so odd the way those trees were lined up, and the ones around it, the rest of them around right there were fine. But it was really strange. So I chose to film that encounter right there. And I was about probably 30 or 40 yards from those 4 trees that were bent over. And as I started filming it, back behind me, I heard something. It sounded like when a deer pushes through real thick brush. You can hear the leaves brushing against something as an animal is cruising through it, not running, but just walking steadily. There's Brother Kyle. Good to see you, buddy. Kyle, remind me here in a little while, if you would, if you'd post that again. I had a couple things I was wanted to remember. I wrote them down, and I don't remember them. But the main thing, when I started walking back, after I'd filmed that encounter, I started walking back, and I wanted to film the way back to the car. My battery was dying on the GoPro, and I didn't have the extra battery with me. I had it in the car. And as I was walking back, I looked down. It was on an incline. And to my right side, the hill went up. That was headed south, but it went uphill. And off to the opposite side, it went downhill toward the north. And it went down quite steep. And I think there may be a pond down there, maybe a sinkhole. I started walking down. I wasn't going down into it. I just wanted to get close enough to see what was down there. And as I started approaching the ring, the edge of it, that feeling came over me, that fight or flight feeling, that it's just like somebody flips a switch and automatically turns on your fear button. And I got overwhelmed with it and got really nervous. And so I stopped. And as I was talking, I was filming, and I seen black, something just as black as night. And I could see it moving. It come across like it was walking sideways, and then it turned and went down. And I've probably seen it for 10 feet of movement through the leaves. I couldn't make out what it was. I couldn't tell if it was 2 feet or 4 feet. I couldn't tell the height. It was so thick. But I could see the shiny black coat. And it was, whatever it was quite broad. But it went down the hill. And that's when I got nervous. And then further to the right of that, I heard something moving. And then I heard something else moving. And finally, I got a little freaked out, and I got out of there. My battery was dying anyhow, and I wanted to get back to the car. But it was really interesting. It was on that encounter, the last one I just posted, toward the end of it. After I got done telling her story, I was on the way back to the car, and that's whenever I walked down there, and I seen that movement. My brother Jeff sent me a message, and he told me that I think he said he saw 3 objects, something down there, 3 creatures down in it. I have not went back over that footage. We've been so busy. I haven't had time to do much of anything. I've been responding, had a lot of people reaching out to us for help. And I want to do this before I get carried away and I forget. I got to read my writing. I had to write with a marker because I couldn't find my cheat sheet that I wrote on. But there's a couple of people, I believe both these people are suffering some type of demonic attachment. I think something's going on that's demonic with them. And Daniel Bice, he's part of our family. He lives in Australia, and he's having a lot of problems. He's fighting PTSD, battling addiction, and life around him is just withering away. Everything's unfolding. And I'd like to ask that you guys that join me and do these prayers and praying for people, pray for Daniel. Pray that Holy Spirit will come into him and fill his surroundings with God's presence and place archangels around him to clear the path and to put him on that righteous walk where he's supposed to be, to get the clutter out of his vision, get his eyes cleared, get him focused on where he's supposed to be, to where the glory of God can be revealed in him. He needs it. He has a lot of problems, a lot of physical problems. Just his world is upside down. And I've been in bad places. I know what that's like, and it's not fun. And the only help you can get, that substantial help, is the power of God. And that comes through prayer. And the other one, she reached out to me, and I got her number, and I told her in the email I would text you before I called, so I wouldn't interfere. If it was a bad time, I wouldn't be interrupting you. And I texted her, and I got no response. I texted her again, got no response. And I believe I texted her 3 times, and then I tried emailing her, and I haven't heard nothing from her. And I'm not going to give you her name. I'll give you her first name because I don't have any permission. I don't know what's going on there fully. But the lady that reached out to me, her name is Laura. They live in Oregon. Her daughter, Stacy, her mother, Laura, believes that she's got an attachment. And nobody knows you better than your mother. And if your mother says you've got an attachment, you could just about count on it. That's exactly what's going on. And Laura is very concerned. She doesn't know what to do. But Stacy is having such problems, demonic stuff. I mean, her life is just blowing apart that they committed her. And she's not crazy. She doesn't need to be committed. She needs to be cleansed. But if you would, as you're praying for Daniel, pray for Stacy and her mother, Laura. Stacy is the one that's having the problems. But, if your children are having issues, you're having issues. So keep them in your prayers. Let's lift them up and get them above and beyond. And I've got to read this email to you. You guys are really going to like this. I've got let me find it. Oh, gee whiz. There we go. All right. You guys remember Miss Bonnie, who was involved with the bad accident recently? They were going to transfer from Little Rock to the Fort Smith Trauma Center because she was in such bad condition. Little Rock wasn't equipped to handle somebody with those type injuries. If you don't know, she got into a bad automobile accident. She was in, I think it was a 97 Chevrolet Suburban. Hit the guardrail and it flipped. I believe it was 3 times. She had a seatbelt on, but she was ejected. And when EMS got to the scene, Miss Bonnie was underneath it. The weight of that vehicle, I don't know what they are, 10 or 11,000 pounds, was on top of her. But she was still alive in very bad shape. You're fighting for her life. Her children they were in a bad way, and they're going to lose their mother. She's got young children. But I just got an update. This was yesterday from a vet. And I want you guys to hear this. This is God working is all it is. God working. Yvette says, "Hi, Donnie, and all of the family of Standing Goats Rescue. A short note to let you in on some good news for a change. Bonnie has been airlifted from Little Rock to Fort Smith to the trauma center that is better equipped at handling trauma patients with pneumonia and major sickness and trauma accidents such as with Bonnie's injuries. She is awake and can only talk by lip movements or by nodding her head yes or no. She still has the trachea. She's still got the trachea in, so she will not do any more damage to her lungs or any other area that may be caused due to her punctured lungs and the crushed ribs. She will be in the trauma center for at least a year. I think that is what they said. She still has a long road ahead of her, but we know a man who still does miracles to this day. Jesus is in control, and he will do his work in his time. Hallelujah. He's always on time, even when we think he may be late. Please continue with the prayer for everyone, or from everyone. We thank you all for the prayers. God bless each one of you. Merry Christmas." And that is from Yvette. She is related to Miss Bonnie. They are family. And Yvette's been keeping us updated on how Miss Bonnie's doing, but that's a miracle. They were not giving her very high hopes of coming out of this. And if she's communicating with them and her trauma has She's still in serious condition, but the trauma has dropped down a few notes where they were able to put her on that life flight and get her to a better equipped unit to take care of her. That is absolutely phenomenal. Praise God. Hey, Patrick and Don Moore. I see we got a few people joined us, and I've seen somebody. I'm sorry if I'm skipping y'all or miss you. Christopher, there you are. Hey, buddy, I'm glad y'all could make it. We're just having a chat, catching people up, and we're doing. If you didn't hear, we're doing prayer requests for Daniel from Australia and Stacy in Oregon. They're having a lot of issues dealing with a demonic attack. The mother to Stacy believes that she has an attachment, and I would, her being her mother, I would agree with that fully. But just pray that Holy Spirit will intervene and break these binding chains that these demonic entities put on people, like they put on these two. Just get them broken, get them healed and set free of that mess where they can carry on and fulfill the will that God's placed in their hearts. We had, let me find, there's Angela, Sister Angela, and I'm going to try to bring Angela on soon. We got a lot in the plans, and it's kind of hard to get anything scheduled. But Angela's dealing with a lot also. She's dealing with Lyme disease. And a lot of you guys know, that you guys that have been with us for a while, that Kim has it also. Kim got it from a tick. And it's a mess. There's not a cure for it. They can treat it, but there's not a so-called cure yet. Carol Hansen, good to see you, Carol. Thank you for making it over. But I'm going to try to get Angela to come on. I want her to explain, because she's quite knowledgeable on it. I'm not dealing with it personally. Kim is, but it's not at an extreme level. She was pretty sick last year from it, and it was a lot of doctor's visits and a lot of money spent that we didn't have to spend, but it's part of life. You know, it's just money. You can't take it with you. It's useless in heaven. And near the end of days, when things get rough, people are going to be throwing gold and silver out on the streets because they can't feed it to their children. You can't eat it. When Babylon rises fully and takes over, your money's useless unless you receive the mark of the beast. And it's going to be a bad time for a lot of people. We'll suffer a little bit, but it'll be worth it. Cherokee Roxy, she who remembers. Hallelujah to that. Oh, there's Brother Ryan. Thank you for jumping over. I ain't seen Ryan in a little while yet. We had, let me pull this up. This is something, everybody I see in the chat right now, you guys are, this doesn't apply to you. But my brother Kyle, you guys know Kyle Maynard. His mother was Miss Carol Maynard. And we did a pull together and got prayers out for her. And she finally went home. And that whole situation, if you're not aware of it, go back and watch the videos. It starts with the prayer requests for Miss Carol. It's amazing what just that whole process of her leaving here and graduating and going home is just amazing. But I want to read this. Okay, this is what Kyle shared with me just a little while ago, actually. Kyle and I talk a lot. It's not just in the chat. We have a relationship outside of YouTube. Oh, there's Crystal. Good to see you. DGB. And Anna. And Don. Everybody's showing up. God bless you. I'm glad you guys could make it. But what Kyle had shared with me is, and I wasn't aware of this. I have not watched it yet. But if Kyle tells me something, I trust in it fully. I trust in Kyle. I trust in him with my life. I absolutely do. But it goes back. One of the shows we did recently, I think it was with Scott Carpenter, we had brought up the government cover-up of these creatures, these Sasquatch, Bigfoot. And there were comments, and I get a lot of emails from people. A lot of them, I don't think they're part of our channel. They'll email me to tell me how ignorant I am and how wrong I am and how Bigfoot is our friend and we should never go out in the woods armed. We need to go out there unarmed and extend a loving hand to them. That ain't for me. My loving hand will be carrying a 10 millimeter, I promise you. Not to you guys, to the Sasquatch. I'll never do anything to hurt another human or an animal, one of God's creatures. But anyway, what he was bringing up was the people that say that the government cover-up is a bunch of garbage, that there is not a cover-up. They need to watch the Pat Tillman documentary. It's on YouTube. I have not watched it yet, but it's a bunch of soldiers talking about what they experienced from what I'm understanding. But they know firsthand how the government covers these things up, these creatures. And I am going to be watching it. I'll most likely watch it tonight. But it's called the Pat Tillman documentary. And it does have bad language in it. So if you guys watch it, make sure your children are in bed or put on your headphones where they're not hearing it, because you don't want them exposed to the foul language. But I'm going to watch it tonight, and it's just more proof that there is cover up to these things, and I wish I understood the reason for it. I don't, but there's something about them. The reason the government's covering them up. And either it's, I do not believe that it's something that mankind has created through DNA manipulation. I don't believe that at all, because they were documented back thousands of years ago when we were pretty ignorant on technology. And I do believe that there were, our species has had outside influence, outside from this planet. I do believe in that. But I believe it was the fallen angel technology. I think it was the advanced technology from the fallen ones. And one of the greatest ways for them to get to God, they can't outright beat him. But if they can destroy his finest creation, which is us, then they've succeeded in really knocking a good lick on him. And I do believe that they have been trying to manipulate our DNA. I believe that wholeheartedly. But with these Sasquatch, these Bigfoot creatures, I don't know. Scott believes that they're Nephilim, and I also believed that for a long time, and I don't know now. I'm not sure where I stand. There's I hear a lot of stories, encounters that people have that they'll email me, but I'm not allowed to share it, and I'm not going to share it until they give me permission to do so. And they have their reasons for not coming forward. I wish all of them would. They don't have to give their name. They can remain anonymous. But just to get these stories out, there's people out there that think it's a myth, and they'll watch the Bigfoot shows and the channels that do anything in regards to Bigfoot, but they watch it as like a comedy relief thing, just so they can mock those channels, mock people like us. And it happens. But the day is going to come when they're going to be out there and they're going to run into one. And all it takes is a bad encounter for a bad person to turn his life over to Christ. It's that quick, if they survive it. And if we can share our stories, and you don't have to do it here. There's too many channels that are doing it. Great channels, far greater than this one will ever be. They're fantastic at what they do. But just share your story, get it out there, because I believe wholeheartedly that it's going to save someone's life. I believe every encounter that's ever been shared by anyone on any platform, by any channel, I believe it's going to save someone. You'll save them, whether it be an injury or PTSD, which is a mental injury. or just outright missing. I don't know that they're responsible for, like David Paulides, the Can-Am, the missing project that he does. But my personal opinion is that they do have something to do with it. If they didn't do it themselves, they know firsthand. Oh, there's Judith and Dee. Good to see you guys. Gals, sorry. Oh. But we live in a strange time. We just got to cover our tracks and watch each other's back. And if you love the outdoors as much as I do, just if you do go out alone, make sure you're armed. And I'm not referring to your firearm. Definitely bring a firearm. Always bring a firearm. But I'm referring to the armor of light, what God provides for us, the protection of the Holy Spirit and the angels that are with him, wherever he may be. You got angels around you. And I don't know that they have wings and they fly, but they're there. They're designed to fulfill God's work. And if God's will for us is to keep us safe, and there's going to be an angel somewhere in the midst of that, making that happen. So just pray when you guys get in the woods and get God to surround you with that armor and just get you beefed up with it. Because what Scott was saying, if you missed that live show, he was saying he believes that's why they target a lot of people. And I never looked at it that way. One of the areas where we hunt, the guys that I hunt with, they never had an encounter. And something happens to me almost every time. And I don't know. And I never understood why are they coming after me? They're not attacking me. Don't take that wrong. But they always show up. They let me know that they're there. And I don't like it. I don't want them around me. I enjoy the woods. I love the woods. I'd live in the woods in a tent for the rest of my life if I didn't have the family and the responsibilities I have. I would absolutely do it. But Scott was saying what he believes is that when you're prayed up and you're carrying that armor, they see it. They know you got that on you. They don't like it. They don't like us. And they know they can't come up and physically harm us, but they can stay at a distance and they can, tag along with you until you end up having a heart attack from fear, like me, or, it's more of a fear tactic. And one of the channels I watch, he's crazy, but I really enjoy what he puts out. I don't believe all the stuff, but it's just fascinating. And that's if I remember the name of it now, Leak Project with Rex Bear. He is a nut job, but I absolutely love listening to him. It's clean, but he's out there. He's super intelligent. But one of his sayings is, be prepared. Be prepared, not scared. And that is so true. But we're going to have some more live shows coming. 2 of them I've been waiting on. There's always a reason why they can't do it. And I believe that they're scared of the repercussions because of what they dealt with since their encounter, sharing it with family and friends and what has happened, the ridicule. And I think they believe it's going to happen by sharing it. And I understand that. I was on the same path for a long time. But I don't care how oddball something sounds. If I have another encounter, you guys are going to be the first to hear about it. I'm going to bring it out. And I'm at the point, I don't care if people ridicule me. I get a lot of it. I get, usually in the comments, if somebody says something rough, a large percentage of you guys jump to my defense, and I'm extremely grateful for that. Thank you tremendously. But they email me, which is fine. I'm not going to argue with them. I'll tell them what what my opinions are on certain things and the reason I do things the way I do. And I'm nobody else but me. And I live my life and do what I feel that God has put in me. And everybody you see in the chat, everybody's different. Oh, boots on the ground. God bless you. I'm glad you made it. Miss Judith. But we're all different. We're all set apart from each other. Our DNA is different. Everything about us is different. And that's what makes us unique. If we all had the same beliefs and we all felt the same way, it would be a boring black and white planet. And I don't mean race. I mean black and white generic. But we have some encounters to come out. One of them, he's from one of our own, and we're going to get him on next week. And the story that's coming on, I trust this man with everything that I have. And I am dying to hear it. He's had several encounters, and we're going to bring him on and let him tell it firsthand. I'm not going to do an introduction to what he experienced. I'm not going to do a narration of it. I'm going to let him come out, and the first time it's ever been put on this platform, it's going to come from his mouth, and I want you guys to hear it. It's going to be good. Oh, we love you, Judith. Thank you so much. And my vet, Brandon. I'm going to put that up. This right here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. This dragon. My vet says, my husband Daniel wants to go out and see if he can find or see Bigfoot. Be careful. If he decides to go out there, just if he doesn't understand these creatures, which none of us do, but a lot of us have experienced them firsthand, guide him to some of the channels that post people's encounters on them, and let him hear a bunch of the encounters before he goes out, and make sure he brings him a firearm out there and just protect himself. You don't want to go out there unarmed. Pray up and carry the Lord with you, and you're fine. Everything will be wonderful. There's Meredith. Good to see you, Meredith. Can you guys still see a message if it's too long? I'm not sure. Meredith, you talking about putting it on the screen? I think you're limited to so many characters in the chat. I'm not sure. Keith Dunlop. Good evening, buddy. Good to see you. Let me see. I'm going to put this up. This is the type thing right here I'm talking about. What Meredith put on there. I watched a guy getting dragged away from bed. His foiler broke down. My eyes are bad, guys. I'm sorry. I can read it until it pops up on the screen there. My screen's really small, what I'm looking at. But it's stories like that, and I've heard so many of them. What else is going to drag you away out there, or try to drag you away? That's frightening. I hope that never happens to me. That would be absolutely horrible. And she says right here, this is the second part of the message. And he saw a deer and coyote hanging on a tree before he saw this. It's been a couple of years ago. One of the areas I filmed at, I don't go over there much because I did see what I thought was a coyote on two legs. It wasn't maybe 4 foot, 4.5 foot tall. But when I found out what it was, I don't want to be around them. If it's them werewolf things, I don't want to be out there. Many Birds. Many Birds wants to know if I got many emails from Central Alabama on encounters. I've gotten a couple. I think I got 3 from Central Alabama. And one of them we did I did do an encounter on them, but the other two guys, one story was it was almost, I've heard it before, but in a different setting. The story was a little different, but it was very similar to what this guy had written me, but he wouldn't allow me to share it. And now the other fella, his encounter was horrifying, and I begged him to let me put it up. I'd leave your name out, leave it anonymous, and he was scared to death that someone would know that it was him. And I wish he'd let me share it, but the few that I've heard from Central Alabama have been pretty aggressive. It wasn't, they're not very passive up there. Yeah, this is what, I don't know if you guys know of this story. What Don's talking about, the family in the land between the lakes, pieces of the girl were high on a limb. They there were a family up there camping, and they had a motorhome, and it was the grandparents, the parents, and the children, young children. And they were attacked by one of these dogmen, these werewolf things. And there were authorities involved, law enforcement. It was a big thing, and it went on the news for a short while, from what I understand. But they did find body parts of the young girl. There were no survivors that I remember. But it wasn't the first time something like that had happened. The entire family lost their life to this thing, and it was horrible. He came inside of their RV. He got a few of them outside. The others ran inside for safety, and this thing went inside after him, and he got them. And that's horrible. That's demonic. That's all it is demonic. I just missed one. Sorry if I missed. Oh. This it's what Meredith is what she's talking about here is the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, knocked him out, and the friend had gotten killed, but he had a camera filming, and I don't know if he had dropped it, but the camera was recording, and it caught a lot of the audio. But you guys remember Mountain Girl Sasquatch? Recently, she got some audio. She's in the Catskill Mountains, and she's been getting some amazing audio. She sets out her recorders all night, and she sent me a few clips. The latest one I haven't heard yet, but what she had captured was, it sounds like the little Sasquatch were over there poking and playing around with the recorder and making little chimpanzee sounds. And she heard the big one actually, there are houses down from her on the road. They're in the mountains, and so all the houses are right on the main road. And the Sasquatch caught one of the people's dogs that let their dog out. And she's got it on audio where you can hear the dog yelping as the Sasquatch killed him, and he goes silent. And he come back and tore the dog apart and ate him right there by the recorder. She's got all that on tape, on digital tape. But Mountain Girl Sasquatch, she's working. Her and a friend are going to be putting her channel together. She's got it up, but she's not got any content on it yet. But if I believe they're going to be posting a lot of audio clips, these long clips where you can just go to bed at night and listen to what happens. And she sent me a 12-hour clip, and I listened to it. I went to bed listening to it, and I had to turn it off. It got really, really scary laying in the dark room and hearing that. When you close your eyes, it takes you out there. You feel like you're literally out there in the woods, and you're hearing these footsteps going around you and this breathing, and it's scary. It's really, really scary. Let's see. Let me put this up. Gene Fox. I'm totally interested and do believe in Bigfoot and the other creatures, but I am a little confused too. I have a question. Has any human been physically hurt by Bigfoot? I have heard stories or tales. I don't know the validity to them because I don't know the people that were telling them. And it's people that were hurt, or some people were hauled away, and they've got, on a lot of your Native American tribes, the elders would tell you stories of, back in the 1800s and 1700s, their people, what's been passed down is these things would come into their village and grab the children, grab the babies, the children, the women, anybody weak enough not to be able to fight back. He'd snatch them up, run off with them for food. And that's, good Lord, that's unbearable to even think about. Yeah, this is one of the reasons I'm putting this up with Cherokee Roxy. She Who Remembers. The bottom part of this message, I don't feel alone. I had seen one a long time ago in '86, and it has always stuck with me. Everyone that's ever seen one of these creatures, it scars you. It leaves a mark in your brain, and that thought never goes away. It's always there. 30 years later, it's there. 50 years later, whatever it may be, the day that you leave here to go home, if your mind is still functioning, that thought is there. And they just, would you call that a holy being that does that? Just by seeing it, for it to mark you like that? That's, I don't know. I got negative thoughts about that one. Yeah, and there's Linda. There are several completed DNA studies of many different giants that proves Nephilim. Yes, absolutely. I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe that. I've seen several documentaries on that where they do the study and it's linked back to the Nephilim. And that's frightening. That's, it brings all of that ancient history to the present, to where it's not something that once was. It still is. It's still here today. These things they're around us. They're in the forest, whether you believe them or you don't believe them. They are here. And I do not believe that there's anything safe about them at all. I'm going to put this up. This is, you guys, the encounter I just did, Nana Anna, this is her. And I don't know if y'all can read that on there. It says, last night after you read my story, my dogs were going crazy. There was banging on my roof, the side door flung open. I didn't see anything, but I was scared and spent the night praying, and it stopped. These things, there's something to them. And that's what I talked to Scott Carpenter when we had him on after the show. We talked for a little while, and I didn't know what to think about it before I had the conversation with him. And I believe he's right. I honestly feel 100% that Scott's right. If you walk in the light of the Lord, if you walk as a saved, born again, kingdom person, a Christian, whatever you want to call it, you serve the Lord and you believe that Christ gave his life for us, for our sins, and you carry that Holy Spirit with you, and you pray before you make any major decision. You pray at the start of every day. When you carry that on you, it glows. And I believe these creatures see it. They know who you are. They don't like it. They don't like us. But like Scott was saying, they're not allowed to touch us. They can't touch us. We got the protection of the Father on us. That makes me feel good, but I'm still scared. They still scare me. Yep. And there's, I didn't see this. I just now seen it after I said it. But Judith says the same thing. She thinks they mark us. The closer you walk with God, those beings see that light. Absolutely. That is, it's a good thing that they can see them. And this, I'm going to put this up. Oh, did I miss you? I'm sorry, Linda. I didn't mean to do that. It jumped on me when I went to click the chat. I apologize. From Malachi, Donnie, have you ever had one mind speak to you? No, I have not. I have dealt with what people call mind speak many years ago, and it was before I ever started going in the woods, before I had my bad encounter, which was 2011. And I had heard a video. I think it was Chris or Mark from Trail to Bigfoot several years back. They had caught audio recordings of these things talking to them, and they caught the voices on a recording. And the voice they caught was it was identical to the voices that I was catching in my home. And I had not had an experience with these creatures. And I was in UAB hospital, and I was recording the voices in the hospital there. And when I was in Shands, I'd record them in my room. When I was on the medical ward, the medical unit, I just played my recorder in there, and I could ask any question and they would respond. But it was the identical voice, identical tone to what I heard the video Mark played. And then there's another channel that they do that mind speak thing supposedly, and the same voices they were catching were identical to what I heard. And when I heard it on the Trail to Bigfoot, it frightened me horribly, and it took me back to when I went through that. And I went through a demonic possession. I had to go through a minor rites exorcism to get that mess pulled off of me. And it wasn't long after that I gave my life to Christ and changed everything about me. And it's not nothing you want to deal with. But I believe what people are hearing, this is my opinion, what people are hearing when they're in the woods and they think they're communicating with Sasquatch, I don't think they are. There's demons in the forest. They have to have some place to dwell. And there's so many Christian homes and Holy Ghost filled homes. They're not safe in those houses. They require darkness, and those houses are full of the light of God, night or day. And I believe that when they're in the woods and they think they're speaking to Sasquatch, they're actually speaking to demons. And they're portraying themselves to be Sasquatch so that they get that invitation to come in and join or attach to you. And that's my beliefs on that. And I do not talk to them. If a Sasquatch were to come out and say, how you doing today? Just, stir up a conversation. And I'm not trying to be funny, but if one were to come up and talk to me that I could understand him, I would not speak to him. I have nothing for them. One run-in with them up close, and it ruined my life. And I don't care to ever put myself in that situation. I definitely don't want no demonic stuff happening. I've been there and done it, and no, it's not for me. This man tuck his tail and run real quick. Let me. I missed one. I'm trying to figure out where it went. Yeah, Judith hit it right there. Never let him in. When you start that dialogue with conversation with these creatures, which you believe to be Sasquatch, in my opinion, you're opening yourself up to a demonic infestation. You're going to go through an obsession. It's going to be bad. If you only deal with the depressive part of it, it's going to be bad. There's nothing good comes out of being depressed at all. Let me see. I'm going to put this up. This is from A Whisper to a Scream, cryptids. Honestly, do not feel that they are Nephilim or anything like that. After my own Dogman encounter, I cannot believe that they are evil in any way. A lot of people don't believe that they're evil. I just happen to be one of them that do. I don't trust them. I've heard good encounters of them, and they may be a creature that God put here. I don't know. I don't think any of us civilians know. But there's been too many bad encounters, too many stories of children being snatched. There's also been stories of children being returned by these things. So I don't know the truth, but we have history, ancient history, written history of the Nephilim and the days that they walked the earth, and there's a lot of documentation on that. I don't know that that's what these are, but the physical size of some of these reportings that we get, how else do you explain a 15-foot creature like that? I mean, the appetite on something that big would be just insane. Let me see. I just missed one. I'm trying to find you. Oh, I got you, Ryan. I got you, buddy. Yeah, I didn't recognize that one, that name. Sorry. I'm trying to find one I just passed. Even with my glasses, I can't hardly read. I got to get some new ones. You know, this, I'm going to put this up right quick from Applicator 40. When I seen that, it made me think of what Scott was talking about, Scott Carpenter, with David Paulides, the Can-Am missing. How people are snatched, and there's a lot of people that are investigating this, not the officials, but people like David Paulides, these people that are not part of the government fold. You know, they're outside of it, and they're doing their own work to try to figure out where these people went. A lot of people do believe that these people are being grabbed and they're being taken underground or in these caves. And a lot of these areas where it happens, there's a significant amount of caves in them. I think there may be some truth to that. I don't know for sure, but I don't understand how somebody can be out there heavily armed and just vanish. And seasoned hunters, people, ex-military that have special training. If an ant has a bad thought in his head, they hear it. You know, these people are really highly skilled, and they disappear. That's just crazy. And there's, let me see. See, things like this, what Mavette's talking about, her dad went out back in the woods and found the dog all mangled and pulled apart. And she come down, and this is the second part of it. It was horrific to see, and to this day, they still don't know how the dog was pulled out of his collar. They think it was a bear. But we have, there's a lot of bears in an area about 30 miles east of us or southeast of us. And there's been no attacks on anybody's dogs at all, dogs or cats. There's been attacks on chickens and rabbits that were in pens, but I've never heard any. I've never heard anywhere of a bear attacking a dog. You know, this would JK, bad outweighs the good because they come from the fallen angels. There's so many that believe they're connected to the fallen angels, and I feel that they are. I don't know. There's one fly that keeps flying around landing on me, and I'm about to shoot him. These things aggravate me. Yeah, I'm gonna put this, guys. I don't take sides with anyone, um, even people that disagree with me. If we don't engage with those that have a different belief system than us, we can never get to a truth. You got to have dialogue, and I'm open to anything as long as there's no foul language or nobody's gets offended by it. I'm open to anything. And what he's saying here, and you got to, humans are so quick to judge what we do not understand. Unknown quantities are labeled evil. Evil is a human trait. We're taught evil by former generations. That's true. That's very true. And the most dangerous and wicked creature on this planet are human beings. You know, we steal and kill each other. We're horrible. You never hear of even a pack of wild dogs. They don't go out and kill another dog because he's got short hair or he's a different color. That only happens with humans, and it's horrible. I hate it that we live in that world, but it's the time that we're in. There was a time when we were all the same color and all spoke the same language, and then we built the Tower of Babylon, and we almost made it to heaven. And I believe the tower was like a portal type of device. I don't believe it was a real tower, but we almost made it to where our Creator's at. And he destroyed it. He broke up the language. He broke up everybody into different races and different, he split us up to where we can't communicate. Back then, we couldn't communicate with one another because the languages were so different, and we couldn't come together and do that again. But I think that's where we're at today with CERN. That thing scares me. I don't know what they're doing over there, but I don't think it's good. Yep, chapter 6 explains it. Yes, sir. Yeah, but this is what Nana was saying. I lost 2 dogs, a goose, which was better than a watchdog, and many chickens where I had my encounter. We lost over 80 chickens, and our chicken coop is not open. It's closed, all 4 sides. The top is underpinned into the ground, and the door on it has a deadbolt lock. Once you close it, you lift the little arm and you slide it over and lower it, and it locks in place. And something was literally unlocking it, going in and taking what they wanted. And there were several times there were feathers leading out over to the property on the north side of us. We didn't catch the culprit, but we have an idea what it was. Yeah, I'm gonna put this up because this interested me. It says, based on my personal experience with the dog man, I know it could have killed me. 15 feet is a hiccup to him. Yet he or she was more curious. This eyes and body movement showed me that. If you guys remember when Brother Jeff come down with me, him and I went out and we did that little walk. I had to film a video for a short, I think it was a prayer request or something I was doing. And he wanted to take a walk around that lake, and it was really close to the area, the video, where I was over by the plum tree, and that thing threw the log at my truck and knocked a big dent in the camper top. When we was in there, I think that creature, I felt it was a werewolf, and I think that they're the same thing. But the dog man, the term just doesn't settle right with me. I'm old fashioned, I guess, but he was right there in front of us, close, extremely close. But I never had a feeling that he had any ill will towards me. And Jeff told me afterwards the same thing. There was no bad feeling coming from him, like he was mad or angry. It was almost as though he was scared and hoping that we wouldn't see him. And he was right there in front of us. It was just that was my first time ever running into one like that. And it was just so bizarre. And the fear didn't set in until we turned and walked away from him back toward the lake. And we were trying to get back to the car because it was getting dark. And I told Jeff, I said, I feel like we're being watched. You could feel eyes on us. And I turned around, and back behind us, there was a tree, and there was a Sasquatch that, I don't know if he walked up into the opening or if he stepped out behind. I didn't see how he got there. But when I looked back, that was the first thing I seen. And he was gigantic. Jeff thinks he was probably around 12 foot. And he looked 10 to 11 foot to me. And I kind of leaned that Jeff would be closer to being right than I am. But that's where I got the fear that I felt, that energy, that bad energy was coming from him. He did not like us being there. But that dog man werewolf thing, it made me nervous seeing it. But I didn't get a bad vibe or anything off of him. It was strange, and I would have never expected that. I always thought if I ever ran into one, it would be, one of these horrible things, and it would be a train wreck for me emotionally. But it wasn't bad. It was different. Let's see. Yeah, there's Sandra, or she's had an experience with Bigfoot. My husband and I always drive the all-terrain golf cart back out on the trails. We stop 20 acres back, just sit and listen and talk, etc. There's so many people that encounter these creatures, but you don't ever hear the tales. A lot of them, they're not bad. Just like what Ryan was saying, I know they're not all evil, but I do believe that there is an evil beginning where they originated. I do believe that there's a bad beginning part to them. I don't know what it is. I wish I did, but I don't. Yeah, and this is interesting what Christine says. These creatures are laying low for something to come, and I believe there will be a battle of some kind with these creatures and mankind. What's I don't know how to even say this right. I'm wanting to say it's funny that you say this, but I'm not funny in a funny way. From when I got saved, it was 2012. That's when I gave my life to Christ and never looked back. And I studied anything I could find outside of the modern Bible. I don't trust the modern Bible. I know it's a guidebook, but there's so many Native American writings. There's so many writings from so many different ethnic groups from around the world that are closer to the truth. Our modern Bible has been altered a lot. But the ancient writings, some of them that are out there that you can pull up are over 8,000 years old. And I remember reading near the end of days, end of time for us, not the end of the planet. I don't think that ever really happens. But before Christ returns, that our Creator opens the gates to the bottomless pit, and he lets out the beasts that are locked away in it. And these beasts are allowed to, they're supposed to bring havoc and chaos to mankind that has turned their back on God. but they're not allowed to harm even the blade of grass. They're not allowed to harm anything like that. Only mankind that has turned their backs on him. And that's when I seen Christine post that on there. That's the first thing I thought of. And I'm in agreement with her. Absolutely in agreement with her. I think that day's going to come. And for a long time, I thought Sasquatch was one of the creatures being released, because I thought the gates were being opened now. And that was just a beginning of the creatures coming out. And recently, a few months back, I was out in an area, I do a lot of filming. I film all the time, but you guys don't never see that footage. If there's not something on it fairly substantial, I just don't post it. I get enough flack from people. I don't want to post something that most of us know is not a typical animal, because there's several that'll email me and they'll chew me out because I knew it was a mockingbird that broke that 6-inch limb, or it's always something off the wall. But to avoid it, I just don't post that stuff. But I was out there, and I'd been out there the day before that, about 3 days in a row. And I went to the same area, and I kept having a type of activity. I got in this one spot, and I could feel somebody staring at me. And I knew the general path of where this thing was, this person, whatever it was. I knew there's like a path, and I knew he was somewhere in that 12 to 15 foot slot that I could feel him coming from, staring at me. And so I kept going back, and I wouldn't go down to where it was coming from, but I was trying to skirt around it to see what type of evidence I could get without actually running into whatever was giving me this feeling. And as I was standing there, I was hearing twigs break, something walking away from me. And it was very obvious, very, the bipedal sounding. I didn't see nothing, but I could hear the individual, the crunch, crunch, crunch as it walked away. And I was trying to focus on where it was, and I noticed a tree snapped, and it was about waist high. Behind it, about 10 feet, was another one. Behind it was another one. And then it looked like there was a path about 8 foot wide, and everything was tore down for about 50 yards. The plants that were just the shrub stuff that grows in the wild, some of it was pulled completely out of the ground. It was there, but it wasn't no longer planted. It was like ripped out. And it looked like it had only been pulled out of the ground for a couple of days. It was still alive, but the leaves were starting to dry. And then seeing that, it dawned on me, if these creatures, if they truly are coming from that pit, that bottomless pit, and their rule, their order is supposed to be to bring chaos to mankind, but to not to harm even a blade of grass, then it can't be these creatures, because they're destroying living trees. They're destroying everything that the beasts in the bottomless pit are not supposed to destroy. And right then I came to the conclusion, I do not believe that Sasquatch are from the bottomless pit. I don't know what they are. I wish I had an answer for it. I'd be tickled pink if somebody would give me one. Yet, JK, I believe their true purposes will be revealed during the tribulation. I think there's going to be a lot revealed near the end time. I don't know how the end's going to go. There's a lot of different theories out there, a lot of different writings. I know there will be an end. It'll be a new beginning for a lot of us, and it'll be an end for a lot of us too, unfortunately. I'm going to put this up. I heard this, Ryan had told me about that before. Don Moore's asking Sandra, are they regular Bigfoot and not Gugways? I have not, I haven't really found a lot of information on these Gugway things, but there are a lot of people that witness from my understanding, Ryan he knows a lot about them. He was the first time I ever heard of him was from him. He had educated me some, but they're like a Sasquatch, except they are just, there's not anything nice to them in any way. They're extremely wicked animals or creatures, whatever they are. They're really bad. Let's see. Yeah, Northern Illinois Sasquatch. The Dead Sea Scrolls, comparable to the Bible. Dead Sea Scrolls are 2,000 years old, and there's been very little alteration. There, if you look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, when they take these ancient writings and they translate them into English, there's a major change to them. One of them, I think it was the copper tablets. That I think those were one of them that I was reading, and they transferred them into they were the Sanskrit text or something of that sort. But the next translation from that was Hebrew. And if you read the translation from the copper tablets over to English, and then read the translation when they go from the Sanskrit, whatever the ancient script was, over to Hebrew, and then where they translated it, brought it over to English, it's far different. It's a far different translation. The same scroll, just is written differently depending on the translation, and it's weird. I wish we'd have these scrolls written in our language over here, where they couldn't be altered. Yeah, this is Ryan. What Ryan's wrote on here. I think we fear him so much because they symbolize a more primal, less civilized version of us. Humans are afraid of the past just as they neglect the future. My first encounter was in 2011. That was an up-close encounter with what I found out a couple of years later was considered a Bigfoot or Sasquatch. And when I saw him, the minute I saw him, I immediately thought caveman, because I never heard of Bigfoot. We didn't do much TV or anything when I was growing up. And as an adult, I never bought a TV, never cared for it. But when I first saw him, the very first thing I thought of was caveman. I didn't believe for 1 minute that he was nothing but a caveman. It messed me up because I couldn't understand how they were supposed to be extinct, but yet here one is less than 3 feet from me. Oh yeah, where are we at? Oh, Brother Jeff, I see you made it, buddy. Good to see you. Where did she go? See, like what Amy's saying here, I have a Bigfoot story, not scary. It was when I was 10 years old. You guys, if y'all have a story, it doesn't have to be scary. If you've seen one and you'd like to share it with us, email me, reach out to me, and we can bring you on the show and let you tell it yourself. Or if you don't want to come on, if you want to write it, none of them are any less credible than the next one. You see one of these things that just, your life is changed immediately. They're big. They're definitely, there's some big fellers for sure. You know, this is one, Meredith saying she's a retired animal groomer, asking about them barking. I know barking pretty dang good, and it's more aggressive. Now there's slightly different types of bark. You know, we've heard them bark a lot. And one of the areas where I do get a lot of activity, I've heard the barking probably 4 or 5 times out of 10 when I go up there. But I never linked it with being the big fellas, the Sasquatch. I never linked it with being them. It kind of puzzled me because there's wild hogs out in that area. And a dog, he don't stand a chance if he gets out there in a pack of pigs. They're bad. They're bad news. And even going out there, we have to be really careful that we don't come up on a mama with babies, because she'll whip you pretty hard. And I don't want to have to defend myself against a mother pig that has newborns that depend on her. So we try to avoid them. If we know you can smell the pigs. If we smell that molasses, that sweet molasses smell, then we'll figure out which way the wind's blowing, and we'll go around them, just to avoid, making a bunch of orphan babies out of wild pigs, because they don't survive if mama's there. The owls will get them. Yeah, Amy says, bark, whoop, scream, and a little one crying like human babies. We've heard the cries a lot. I caught a few of them on video before. And it's not quite human, but that's the closest thing you can connect it to as human. And it's odd. It's really, really creepy. Let's see. I'm reading, guys. I'm not ignoring you. I missed one somewhere. Yeah, Ryan knows about the pigs. Came across a wild pig with her babies, and mama chased me up a tree. I've been treed several times. I've been cut several times. And the wild pigs are, they're a wicked animal. They are built to defend themselves. And if you get up on one, if he bumps you, if he's running, the best thing to do is stand there. And when he gets right up on you, just jump straight up and spread your legs, and he'll run under you. They can't turn like a dog can. They have to do a wide berth. But if they bump you, you're cut. You won't feel it. You won't feel it at all until the next day. But there's something in their saliva, I guess, that it numbs it immediately, and there's no pain. And they'll cut you like a razor. Let's see, JK. Wild pigs that do that. Yes. Hey, Martha, you made it. Good to see you. I passed one. Here's Jeff says he has not seen one of the Neanderthal-looking skunk apes yet. Guys, the property I had my encounter on, my sister works in real estate. And about a week and a half ago, she finally located who the new owners are of that piece of property where I had my bad encounter in 2011. And I've got their contact information, their phone numbers, and I'm trying to get set up with them to where when Bigfoot Odyssey shows up over here for the documentary, that we can get everybody out there. I'm trying to get to where we can get permission to go. I'm not going by myself, but Brother Jeff is going to be with us. And the 5 or 6 of us that were working that property, all of us ran into that Sasquatch out there. Every one of us did. The other guys split and never came back, and none of them told me. I was going out by myself for a couple of weeks because they had to work. I didn't know they weren't coming at all. I thought it was because they had to work the next day, and they vacated it, and nobody told me. Well, that's where we're going to take Brother Jeff, and you may get to see him one. I know there's 2 caves. There's 4 caves on the property, but there's 2 big ones that you can go. You can go inside of. I'm not going in them, but I know where the caves are, and one of them has a bunch of bones stacked up in the entrance to it, off to one side. They got there's little tiny bones in one pile, medium-sized bones, and then large bones, like somebody organized them. It's weird. It's a very weird thing to see out in the middle of nowhere. Elohim. Let's see. Sandra, the cavemen are just what I call the Sasquatch. That's what they look like to me. I don't believe there's... I see it, Jeff. I don't believe that them things are related to the great ape or a monkey in any way. What I witnessed right up close, there was no monkey involved. There was, I don't think he had any, excuse me, any, whatever that species is, that monkey primate species. I don't think he had any of the DNA. Oh, excuse me. I missed one of the messages in there. I can't find it. Brad says, Jeff, are you going into that cave? Yes, we're going to make Jeff go in that cave. Jeff's about as big as a Sasquatch. If anybody has a chance of surviving one of them, it's him. Yeah, this is what John says right here. You know, there's a lot of people that are also leaning the same way. The Lord gave the angels power we could never understand. Lucifer could have put these creatures on the earth to torment us. You know, that was one of the first beliefs that I firmly stuck to, and it's I have not put it aside. There's so much more that I've learned talking to people. People contact me. Several people around where we live have reached out to me, and I've been talking to over the phone now for a few weeks, for a couple of months, and they have activity, and to hear their thoughts and what they see and witness, it's just my belief that I had rooted in what these things are has changed drastically. And I'm more confused over it now than what I have been. Excuse me. Meredith says, bring a flamethrower and have water trucks on hand. Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's an interesting thought. Southern Sasquatch and cryptids, Denise, perhaps they report back to the Father. I've never thought about that, but anything's possible. You know, I'm not going to put anything aside because it just differs from what I believe in. You know, my beliefs are just that. They're not my facts. It's just what my beliefs are. And when it comes to these creatures, from 2012 to where I'm at now, my beliefs have changed a bunch of times. And I just, I don't know where to go. We live in a strange world, and it's getting stranger by the day. And these encounters are happening more and more frequently. This is strange. This will get you to thinking. What Don says, could fallen angels shapeshift into Bigfoot to throw people off and to make them think that evolution really happened? But then again, real 10-foot ape jaws were found in China. That's, where do we go with these creatures? There's so much evidence out there to prove that they are part of everything. They're part of Nephilim. They're part of mankind, of humans. They're just, there's so much different information out there. It's confusing. And that's why I wish the government would come out and just say, guys, here's what it is. This is what we know to be fact about these things. Stay away from them, or we're going to shoot you, or whatever they do. They're going to threaten you if you find out the truth. And that's one of the reasons. If you guys ever watch that channel, Steve Isdahl on howtohunt.com, Steve's rough. He is really rough. He don't care what he says or who he says it to. And I like that about him. He stands his ground. He holds his ground. But he is bringing forth a lot of stuff. People are reaching out to him. They trust him because of the way he is. And he is, if anybody's going to break this open on what these things are, I believe it's going to be him. I may be wrong on that, but he's got his hands in the cookie jar deep. Jeff goes in, he'll need lots of Christmas lights all over him. Amen. Oh, Lordy. Skinwalker. Yeah, I don't think I want to run into none of them things. Yeah, this is, this again, what Martha says on here. They're put here to torment us. Then why are there so many that kind of have relationships with people without doing any harm? And that's where my beliefs got so out of whack. Now, when I had my encounter, my first encounter wasn't one coming up and befriending me or doing something nice. He was right in my face, screaming and growling at me and stomping his feet. And it was horrific. And right then, I decided that was the most dangerous creature on this planet. It ruined me. And then you hear encounters of children being lost in the forest, or having an animal come up and attack them, and these Sasquatch come in there and rip the animal to shreds, and they protect the babies. And I don't know. It's a confusing topic. And I hope that one day we'll get the answers. And I know we will when we go home, but I want to get it now while I'm alive. It's probably going to be rubbed in my face, but that's a good thing. I'll accept the truth that way. It's the best way to take it. Let's see, government never tell the truth of anything they close secret. Yep, absolutely. This is one, Smith and No Name says, and the reptilian race brought Sasquatch or Bigfoot with them. I bet I've heard that 20 times in the past 3 years. I've heard it a lot. And I have not run into one of the reptilian things. I hope I don't. That one, from my understanding, looks a lot like an alligator and a man mixed. And I'm pretty sure that I will shoot that one. I'm too afraid to be facing things like this. I'm too old to be standing toe-to-toe with them. I have to bring Jeff with me. Everybody else packs a big knife. I pack a big Jeff. Throw Jeff on him. Yeah, I think these things live in caves. In Marianna, that's where I had my encounter. Marianna, Florida. It's fairly close to the Alabama or Georgia line. It's not far from where we live, about 45 minutes. but it is full of caverns and caves, the whole area. And they have a state park in there that's the Mariana Caverns State Park. And I went in it many years ago. It was back in, I think I was in junior high school, middle school now. And we had a field trip there. And it was beautiful, but we were so deep underground. And there's so much room in there. 100 people could live in that one cavern easily without bumping into each other. And to think that this entire planet is covered with caves and caverns that are thousands of times bigger than that. Let's see. Yep, a lot of people know Steve. Yes, indeed. I got way behind. Let me see where we at. Oh, I think I got too far behind. Yep, Sandra, Big Jeff, indeed. Jeff is my weapon. This right here, what John's saying, this is one that I've thought about greatly. And I don't know if you can call it confirmation, but it was one of the first things I thought of when Mark came on with Carrie Arnold on Bigfoot Odyssey, Mark from Trail to Bigfoot, when he was talking about what happened to him. I believe it was he was surrounded by demons, and he put himself in a situation that the demons were beating him. They were beating him down. And what John says here, demons come to people as little children. Why can't these creatures act innocent just as they do to draw you in? That's the first thing I thought of when I heard Mark telling his story on there. And I believe it's not only possible, I believe they do that. And I know there's some good ones out there. The humans are supposed to be a good race. And look at what we're doing to each other here in this country, one of the most civilized countries on the planet. And they're acting like they're Neanderthal, people killing each other over nonsense because one person likes one presidential candidate better than the other. It's unbelievable. Where is it? All right, hold on. I'm going to get to you. I know I missed it. Doggone it. I didn't read the Sandra's comment before this, but this, what she's saying here, I'm not laughing at you, Sandra. This is me. What she's saying, daytime is one thing, nighttime, no way. I will not be in the woods at night. And it would take a literal army to be heavily outfitted for me to be in the woods at night. And I better be in the very center of them. I know what's out there, some of what's out there, and it's not anything I want to volunteer myself for again. I wouldn't have never done it to begin with if I'd have known that he was out there. When I had that encounter, I've got hog traps and very expensive hunting stands out there, and I left everything. I left a backpack full of gear out there. Probably over $3,000 worth of gear I left on that farm. And I don't want it back. They can have it. After I had that encounter, I left that property, and the first time I went back, when Jeff came down and spent some time with us, we rode by to show him where it was, and we rode right past the property, and that's the closest I've been to it since 2011. Where do we go? Yeah, we live in our world's gone crazy, guys. I mean, we're just, where are we going from here? Look at all the encounters people are having, not just Sasquatch, but these other things. And what's up with that that one creature, I can't remember the name of it. I just seen it on television here recently. The one that causes you to become a cannibal. If he bites you and lets you live, that you turn into a cannibal. I don't remember what they called him. Don Moore. I'm going to put that up. This, because I'm sure these other people would probably know too. He says, Donnie, have you read Autumn Williams' mom's book, Valley of the Shookum? A true story and very scary. They could hear them and they slept within sight of their cabin. Holy mackerel. I have not heard of that one, Don. I will definitely try to find that. I'm hoping maybe they got an audio book of that. I can read. I have a lot of problems holding a book because of the nerve damage in my neck. I can't have my head tilted down, and I can't hold my arms up to hold a book up. And so if it's on the wall, I can read it. I can listen to an audio if they got it. Wendigo. There we go. Ryan's got it up right there. Yeah, the Wendigo Creature. I have not had anybody contact me personally to tell me they encountered one of them. But I was watching a show on TV. I don't remember the name of it. But these people, this was recent. This was within the last 2 years, have encountered these. Have seen them going down the highway. And one of the people was a sheriff. And he was on duty, on patrol. And it ran across the road in front of him. He had to hit the brakes. But that's what they called it, a Wendigo. And some people think that they live in the water. The Native Americans said that they are from the water. And then other people say that they believe that they're alien to this planet. So, I mean, these are strange creatures. And I used to blow every bit of that off as people on drugs or big imaginations. And after my encounter and the things I have witnessed in my life, I believe all of it's real. I don't think, even some of this really bizarre, crazy stuff, I believe it's real. I believe the people are being honest about it, and it's crazy. I haven't heard of this one. JK put on there, the 1850 Sasquatch War, Joshua LaFleur. I have not heard of that one. I'm gonna have to. I need to do some research. If I have time, I prefer to go to the woods. Ryan, do you mind if I share that on the channel, which you just posted to me? I'm going to highlight that comment if you're okay with me sharing it. Jonathan Stokes, welcome, buddy. Good to see you. Absolutely, my UK brother. Let's see, where'd you go? Oh, good deal. Good deal. All right. I'm going to put this up for you guys right quick. Where'd we go? Right here. It's my brother Ryan. I wrote a video on the Wendigo, Wendigo. I'll shoot you the link for it. He's going to send that link to me here later on, probably after the show. and I'm going to try to figure out how to share it. Once I get it, I'll see if I can figure out how to share it. If anything, I'll put the link up for you guys to check it out. Ryan's a good man. He's my brother. He's really helped me out in the beginning, and he's done some amazing stuff on here. They have gotten some really crazy guests come on. Not mentally crazy, but the what they've encountered, the stuff they shared has been just wow. I don't know. I could survive stuff like that. Where are we at? There we go. I think I've gotten way behind myself again. I can't put that up, Meredith. That's funny. Yeah, Paul, I'm glad you're here. Absolutely. Always good to see you. All right. All right, Ryan put the link up right there. I will post it. I'll put up a post on the channel. And let's see. I have to figure out how to copy it from here to put it in there. But I'll Ryan, could you send it to me on the email or text? I'm not sure how to copy it from here. I use my phone for almost everything on the channel except for the live shows. This thing's working so much better now that I disconnected the Wi-Fi part and hooked the cable up to it. Yeah, I won't be able to remember that. But I'm going to share that on the channel for you guys to check out. Oh, Brother Mark. Hey, buddy, good to see you. Live Wire. If you guys have not checked out Mark on the channel Live Wire, please go over there and check him out and subscribe to him if you haven't yet. He's had his hands full with the big fellas on his property. Derek, good to see you, buddy. Thank you. Thank you so much for being part of the channel. We're so blessed to have, the family that we have here. It's absolutely amazing. Oh, I think that bug bit me that time. Wow. Yeah, we wish I could share a little about we're gonna have an encounter come up. He's in the chat, I believe, right now. But I'm gonna have him on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. He and I both have a very full platter, and it's hard to get time. I can't just jump on at any time of the week. But I'm going to have him come on. He's going to share. He's had several encounters, and all of them have been up close, literally close enough he could have counted the hairs in their eyebrows, and those are his words. If he were thinking about it, he said it was close enough he could have counted their eyebrow hairs, and that's scary. Let's see where we at. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. These glasses are falling off my head. My head's not shrinking, I don't think. Okay. I have missed it. Yeah, there it is. Put that up, what Don just put on there. This is that book Don was talking about earlier. The war, that Sasquatch war. The lady's name is Sally Shepherd Wolfrud. She's the author of the book Valley of the Skookum. I'm sure many of you have read it or listened to it. I have not, but I will. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I just seen Brother Derek. I'll let you guys know how the babies are doing. I actually just filmed a little bit of them. Baby Wiggles is doing fantastic. She is doubled in size. I mean, she is just a butterball. The little man, Littlefoot, he is still very tiny. He's, I think he's almost 3 pounds. He is so little, but he's doing fantastic. He's not putting on weight, so we've got to take him back in for a checkup to make sure he hasn't picked up a parasite. They did treat him anyway. He tested negative on his very first vet appointment, and that was when he was 3 days old. But he's got a healthy appetite, a very healthy appetite, and he runs all over the yard. We have to watch him very closely when he's out there. We had an owl come down a few days ago. Kim and Rosie were out back, and an owl swooped down trying to grab one of the other goats that are much bigger than Littlefoot. And the one that the owl swooped for, I don't know if he knocked her down or she fell over on her side and he wasn't able to grab her. And so Littlefoot, he's so small, he looks like a squirrel with long legs. And so we have to go out there with him and hang out with him. During the day, he's safe, but late in the afternoon, that's when the owls start feeding him. We have to be really careful that they don't fly off with him. I'd be very upset if one of them come and got that baby. He's such a sweet little thing, very loving, and he's learned to run. He's not real good at it. He's very clumsy, but he's doing fantastic. I'm going to do a little short, just post a little video of him and Wiggles out there playing. And it's just, it'll make you smile regardless of how bad you feel. Yes, Derek, absolutely. That is fantastic. God is so good. He takes care of the animals just as well as he cares for us. And that is, we couldn't ask for nothing more. Let's see, where Denise got there. Has anyone ever been known? Where'd you go? Has anyone ever been or know of Ardmore, Pennsylvania? Is where I'm from, right outside of Philadelphia. It's nothing like the big places you're from. Denise, I have no idea where that is. Have y'all had a lot of activity up there as well? Meredith, the little babies, the newborns, they'll gain weight. They start losing weight around 3 months old when they start transitioning over from an infant to like a toddler. Basically, they'll lose a lot of that baby fat, but it's only very minimal, just a couple of pounds. On a 20-pound baby, he'll lose 2-3 pounds, but that's about it. Let's see. Where did it go? I'm going to post this up. Discovering Sasquatch and Cryptids wants to know, can someone please elaborate on where this story of the Sasquatch War can be found, please? And that would, I think Don knows where we could get that. I'm interested also. I'm looking to see if we get an answer we can post up. Moonrider, I'm going to highlight your comment here in just a second. I would definitely like to respond to you on that. Let's see. There's one from Dawn. I'm going to post that in just a minute. Let's see. I'm trying to find you, Moonrider. Where'd it go? There he is. Okay. I want to put this up. I want to share this with you. I know most of you guys know. Oh, got one fly in here, and he's loving me. All right, Moonrider. Fast as Donnie. Have you ever seen a cloaked creature? I don't know what I seen. I did see something, and I'll go ahead and tell you guys. I know a lot of y'all probably haven't heard about it. On our property, we have a small 10-acre parcel, and it's surrounded by large parcels. It's all wooded. We had one neighbor that you pass coming into our property. We live at the end of a road. There's no houses on our road, but you pass a house before you get to it. Now there's one other place that was just built, and I think they're using it for one of the earth moving companies. They keep a couple of dump trucks out there and a few pieces of equipment. But anyhow, on that property, I got a ladder stand on it. We don't hunt it unless we have, we put the ladder stand up because on camera we feed them and we put out minerals because the does were in such poor shape when they had the babies. And so we put a lot of minerals out, a lot of feed out for them, a lot of corn, sweet feed, whatever we could find to try to fatten up the mamas so their babies are healthier. And we had 2 bucks that I caught on camera. And one of them, he was a healthy buck. But one of the pictures we got, he's in the picture, it's a blur. He's running, and there's 2 spotted fawns in front of him, and they're trying to get out of the way. A couple of days later, I have a doe and a spotted fawn in there, and I got him, the same buck, on camera, and he's got his head, throwing his head up, and his head's blurred from where he's moving it. And that little fawn is sideways, got his feet kicked to the side, and he's about 4 or 5 feet in the air. That buck hooked him and slung him. And so that was 2 pictures that we caught of him attacking the babies. And there's no telling how often he was doing it, but we only caught it twice. And so we were going to target him and remove him. And then before we could get set up and get a ladder stand put up there, because we had nothing to really hunt out of, we caught one on video or on the camera that looked like he had the chronic wasting disease. His breastbone stuck out. It was like a big knot on his chest. You could see his shoulder blade sticking out. He was really poor. So we carried a ladder stand up there, and it's 12 foot to the platform you stand on. And I think sitting in it, your head is probably at 15 feet above the ground. Well, we set it up, and looking due west, about 50 yards is the property line, and that's the game trail where the deer come in to the mineral and the feed. We got one area where we were putting mineral and feed up, and this was before I knew that we had Sasquatch up there. I had no idea. Well, I went up there about 1 o'clock in the afternoon to where I could get in the ladder stand and my odor would settle down. And then by 4 o'clock in the evening, when they started moving, it would be quiet. They wouldn't hear me or see me coming into the stand. I was already there. About 2 o'clock, I could hear something moving on the adjacent property. And it was getting closer, but it was really slow. And you deer hunters out there, you know how them deer, if rut's not in, they'll take their sweet time, and sometimes it's an hour before he comes into view. Well, I was focused. I'm watching the game trail. I got a shooting rail right in front of me, and I got my muzzle loader laid on the shooting rail, and it's to my shoulder, but I'm not holding it. I'm just resting it on the shooting rail. And I'm looking over the scope. I'm staring at the game trail, waiting to see him poke his head out and hoping it's that either the sick one or that one that's that's hurting all the babies. And watching for him, I seen glitter, something kind of glisten like a spider web does. Early morning when it has dew on it and the sunlight hits it, it'll kind of sparkle a little bit and you can see it. You make out the little glimmer. Well, I seen that, and it was kind of to the left of my view. It was head level with me. There was a pine tree about 18 feet in front of me, and a limb that come out the side. The limb come out, and if a deer would have came out of that property, right there at the property line, I could not have shot him because that limb was right in the way. I could see over it and under it, but I wouldn't have been able to take a shot until the deer got closer to where he's under the limb. Well, this glimmer was above the limb, but close to the tree. And I looked over there, I didn't see nothing. So I looked back, I'm watching the game trail, and then I seen it again. And again, I kept seeing that glitter, that sparkle from it. And so I turned and I'm watching that spot. And then finally it glittered and glittered again, and I seen it. And I thought, wow, that the next limb up is probably 7 feet above that one. It's pretty high. And for a spider to build a web over that distance you don't see them that big very often. And I could see the glitter in different places. And I thought, that's a spider web. And I was watching it. And I thought there wasn't no wind, but it doesn't take much at all for a spider web to flex and to reflect light. And I was watching it, and I'd see the movement a little bit, and then I guess it moved toward me where the sunlight was hitting, and I seen the outline of a child. I could see the outline of the neck, the head, the ears. I mean, really tiny little ears on it, no hair. And then I seen the outline going down the arms. And the more I stared at it and focused on it, it came into view, and I could make out the whole, whatever it was. It looked to be maybe 4 foot, 4.5 foot tall. But the strange thing is, it was standing on that limb. And the limb was probably that big. It wasn't a huge limb. And it was about 2 feet from the tree, the trunk of the tree itself. He had his feet, if you could see, his feet were wrapped like this around the limb. I could see they looked like hands. His feet were just like hands. I could see like the toes or fingers, whatever was on the bottom. I could see him underneath the limb. And he had his hands, his feet were wrapped, and his hands were on the outside of him off to the sides, and he was holding the limb, and he was facing me. I think I couldn't make out any features, but I could see the outline plain. And he let go. What had drawn me, what got my attention initially was the tree bark. I heard the bark cracking, and I thought a lizard, a little chameleon, was going up the pine tree. The bark's real brittle. It's really loud and cracky. And I kept hearing the bark crack and seeing the pieces fall to the ground. And I kept watching, and then I started seeing the glitter. And well, anyhow, as I'm watching him, the hand that was closest to the tree, he was holding the limb he was standing on. He was squatted down, like you see pictures of from Taiwan, the Taiwanese people squatting down and eating, and their feet are planted flat on the floor, and their rear end is almost touching the floor. They squat so low. That's how this thing was sitting on the limb. And it let go with the hand closest to the tree, and he reached up and he grabs the tree and when he grabbed it, the bark cracked and pieces fell off. But when he opened his hand, I seen his fingers, and his entire body. All I could see is the outline, and it didn't look like the movie Predator. It was similar to that, but it was clear, like water. Looking through him was clear, but the outline looked like a spider web. It kind of like glittered or glistened. The whole outline did. But when he reached up and grabbed a hold of that tree, and I knew without a doubt that was a creature, that was something with 2 arms and 2 legs. I climbed down and I left, and it was about 2:00, 2:30 in the afternoon. This was, I think it was in January. The end of February, the following month, I was in another area, not at the property. It's about 20 miles west of the property. And I was hunting over there. I didn't go back to the property for a while after I seen that. It spooked me really bad. And I didn't know what it was. I've never in my life heard of people seeing invisible beings. And I seen one. Well, I went to this other area, and it is public land. And I've got a chair that you stick it up against a tree. It's got one strap. You pull it around, you cinch it down, and then you unhook the bungee and you lower the chair down and you sit in it. It's extremely comfortable. And you can sit in a tree that big around, or a 28-inch tree. It'll hook on to anything. Well, I had my chair in a tree, and I was in the planted pines, big mature pines, a bunch of growth that come up anywhere from knee high to waist high all over. And I was in that. Right in front of me, about 20 feet, was the logging road. Good night. And across the logging road to the left was the road that came from the north straight into me. The logging road went east and west. And then 30 or 40 yards to my right, there was a game trail that went off into the woods, and it went due north. Well, I could hear, it was during the day, middle of the day, and I could hear somebody coming. That logging road, it's about anywhere from 12 to 20 inches of dried, I don't know what the stuff is. It's just growth, but it's real crunchy and crackly when you walk on it. And I could hear somebody coming. I could hear the steps. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, here we go. Got to get ready. The game warden's coming. My hunt's messed up because the sun is starting to shift over. I got about 3 hours before dark. And I hunt till the sun goes behind the trees, and then I leave. I don't wait until dark. Well, that would have messed my hunt up, having a game warden walk in across the game trail that I was sitting on. Well, as he was getting closer, I could hear the steps, and I knew where they were, but there wasn't nobody there. And I could hear the individual bipedal steps, and it got not quite straight in front of me, and it stepped, and I thought I seen the grass move. And I thought, well, I know what this is. That's an armadillo coming through there. And they kind of hop sometimes, and that's what I thought he was doing. So I was looking for him in the grass. And when he got right in front of me, I could hear the steps, and I could see some of the stuff moving. When he got in front of me, I seen the actual foot as it stepped down. I seen the grass lay down, and there was nothing on the grass. But it was a footprint like you see in these movies, these television shows of an invisible man walking, stepping on the grass. You see the grass lay down. That's exactly what it done. And just a couple of steps, and he was out. There's some overhang. There's some scrub oaks that hang over the road right there, and he was under them. When he got out from underneath them, he was in direct sunlight, and he lit up like a Christmas tree. And it was the same thing I saw on the property on that limb. And he was about 4.5 foot tall, looked like a child with just a kind of a big head. The head was a little too big for him. But he walked past me and never seen me. And when I recognized what it was, I drew my gun on him. I had that muzzleloader, that 50 caliber, and I had it drawn on him. I didn't know what it was, and if I had to shoot it, you get in fear like that, and you just prepare for the worst. And well, he walked, and then he turned down the game trail. There's some, excuse me, dog fennel. It grows 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall, and it dies really fast, and then it stays standing dead for months on end. But if you try to bend it, it snaps. It's really loud. If you move it, it'll break. If you push on it a little bit, and He turned on that trail, and I seen his arm reach up, and he grabs that dog fennel, and he moves it, and it lays over and cracks. A couple of them break off. He steps past it, and then my heart started pounding. This was real. I was really seeing this, and it's all running in my head. Well, there's a tree that's down right there, a small pine tree, and the root ball's sticking up. He leans over and he puts one hand on the tree, and he swings his foot over. His next foot, he stands up, and then he walks down the trail till he's out of sight. And I can hear him continue. He never seen me, and I could hear him walking away from me. And when he got far enough that I couldn't hardly hear the footsteps no more, I left. I got up and went back, straight back to the car. But that was twice I seen him. And then it was probably a year and a half ago, I heard an encounter from someone else who's seen one. And if you can, any of you that are in Georgia, there's a museum in Blue Ridge, Georgia. It's called the Blue Ridge Expedition Sasquatch Museum. David Becerra owns the museum. Real nice guy, very pleasant guy. He reached out to me, and that's how I met him, was through email. Well, he contacted me, and we talked on the phone for a while. And he told me he was going, I forget where, somewhere up north, to interview some people who have had encounters. And a couple of people he was interviewing have seen these invisible creatures. And he called them cloaked creatures. And I asked him, well, what is the cloak? I mean, I don't quite get that. Is it something like wearing the skin of another animal? Or, I didn't get it. I never heard it called cloak. And then he explained to me, it's like they're wearing an invisibility cloak, and you can see them, but they're see-through. And my jaw dropped. And I told him, I said, I've seen that twice. And I want to say it was about 3 years ago that I've seen it, but that was the only times ever in my life. And I never seen anything like that before, and I haven't seen it since. But yes, I did see what I believe was a cloaked creature. And I've actually got a guy contacting me, and he has a story he lives about 15 miles north of the area where I had the second encounter with him, or the second sighting of it. And he had the same thing. He come out of his house, out of the front door, and they got a patch of woods that run out to the road from beside his house. And he's walking right along that wood line, and there was one in the tree right above him. He walked under and seen it, and he took off. It didn't bother him, but he contacted me about it. And one of his friends told him about our channel, and that's how he reached out to me. And I just spoke to his friend, I think it was Saturday, and he's trying to contact him now to get him to get back in touch with me, and I'm going to bring him on. I want him to tell his story if he's willing to do it. But it's pretty amazing what he witnessed. Let's see. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, and I got way off. Oh, there we are. Sorry about that. I get carried away at times. Yeah, Mindy says they can bend light and shadows around them. I guess that's what that is. What is that? Oh, yes, absolutely. I accidentally clicked on that. I was trying to zoom up, but I think there's a lot of control going over. All these channels, any of us that post anything about Sasquatch, or anything that they consider as folklore, I guess you could call it. Most of the subscribers have problems with getting notifications. Oh, there's my sister. I'm going to bring her on. You guys that see Tina LaMonica in the chat, that is my baby sister. And she's one I was telling you about earlier. She does real estate. And if you guys are looking for properties, there's a lot of property down here, especially in this area and near the Mariana area. And if you guys are looking for property that most likely has the big fellas on it, I believe she can hook you up. But I'm going to bring her on here sometime really soon, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you and explain what she does. And for you guys that are looking for property down here, Mariana, there's a lot of encounters of these things. If you don't want property where there's a high possibility of Sasquatch being on it, I would not search in Mariana. There's a lot of stuff in that area, but she can find whatever property you guys are looking for. I'm going to try to get her on this week. She's really busy. She works a lot, and we just live a couple of miles from each other. That's my sister I've talked to y'all about before. She's helped me out a lot. If everybody's saying hi, I'll put her up. I'm going to put it up. She's the one right there. Not trying to embarrass you, Tina. But that's my sister, guys. And if y'all are looking for any property at all down here, anywhere in the panhandle of Florida, let me know. And I'll when I do a video with her to where she can introduce who she is and bring all of that to you, I'll put all of her information or contact information in the description. And I'll most likely just go ahead and put links in the description where you can just go straight over to check her out. But she stays really, really busy, and we go to the same church together, and so she keeps tabs on me pretty good. But I love her. That's my sister. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, this what Gene is saying on there, or she heard on Bigfoot Odyssey, or Carrie asks, does Bigfoot share our DNA, or do we share Bigfoot's DNA? Carrie, his friends Mark and I can't remember his wife's name, from Central Florida or South Florida, they've done a lot of DNA tests, and a lot of other people have also, that show that these creatures have a human, the DNA suggested a human mother and an unknown species as father. And I don't know. Personally, we know that Satan will do whatever he can to manipulate the DNA to get at our creator any way that he can. Yahweh he made us with one thing in mind, and that's to create us in his image. And if Satan can get in there and alter that DNA and corrupt us, then that's a strike against God. And that's all that he wants, is to do whatever he can to try to win the battle that's coming. But he's already lost that one. It just hasn't happened yet. No, Meredith, I'm not near Venice. I'm actually about 30 miles from Panama City, Florida. I'm up in the Panhandle. Moonrider says he's had some encounters, and one was cloaked. If you'd like to get up with me to share your encounters, any of you guys and gals on here, if y'all have had encounters, it does not have to be with the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, cavemen, or whatever you call them. If you've had an encounter with something that is not normal, the werewolf, dogman creatures, the anything, if you've had an encounter and you'd like to come forward and share it and tell your story, email me. My email I can post it on here. I believe I got it. Let me check. Yep, got it right there. I'll put it in the ticker right there in the bottom for you guys. There's my email, and if you'll email me, then we can discuss if you want to share it, how you want to do that. If you want to email it to me and have me narrate it in a video for you, or if you want to come on and tell it yourself. But use that email, standinggoatsrescue@outlook.com. That's how you can contact me. I'm not as behind as I was. We had a lot of people reach out needing prayer that were in a bad way. And anytime there's people that are in situations that are looking for prayer, I try to get to them first. That's really important. You know, prayer is something that you need right away. That's an emergency response when the enemy is attacking you, or you got problems, or you've been hurt, or anything. When life is not working in your favor, that's when we reach out and we send a message through the Holy Spirit mailman and get to the big man himself. Yeah, Martha says it's all speculation until there's proof of DNA. And they have DNA, but they don't have proof of the father of the DNA. And that's where I'm at as far as the DNA. There's several people, there's hundreds of people who have sent in samples, and it's all come back mother human, father unknown. And when they figure out who the father is for them, if it's conclusive with the rest of them, then I'll accept it as proof. Right now, I can't. Gene, we had discussed it a little bit earlier on there, but I don't know. I have felt there was a time that I did believe they were Nephilim. I don't know what they are. I wish I could tell you and be truthful about it and tell you exactly what they were, but I don't know. I wish I did. It would sure make all of this a lot easier. If you get out in the woods, these things usually end up being your enemy in one way or the other. And you can't fight an enemy that you don't know what he is. You need to be prepared for it. If it's supernatural, then you go with a supernatural weapon, and that's our Holy Spirit. Oh, there we go. Keith says he's looking for land up here around me. Your babysitter. Keith, I will have Tina come on very soon. I may be able to talk her into doing it tomorrow, and I'll shoot a video where she can describe to you what she does, who she is, and all of her contact information. She is my biological sister. We're 2 years apart. I'm 2 years older, so I'm wiser. Not necessarily, but she can't fight back because I'm the one with the microphone. But yeah, I'll have her information up really soon. I love her to death. I'd do anything in the world for her, and that's the way it's always going to be. Let's see, where did we go? You know, this what Gene's saying here. I talked with someone a while back, a week or two ago, and we was talking about this exact thing. You know, think about all the state parks. What is the reason for them? That the state parks, they'll have them in a certain area. They charge you to get in. They close them at night. If they open it for camping, you can't camp anywhere you want. You're confined to a specific area. Why are they doing that if it's not to keep something at bay, so to speak? You know, just my opinion. I think that the state parks, like what Gene's saying, I think it's to give them an area that we'll never go in there and clear the trees. Once we take their habitat away, you know, it's all bets are off. It's going to be full on them against us, and it'll be bad. Regardless of the outcome, it'll be bad. Oop, I went too far. Good night, Judith. Hope I didn't miss you too late. And good night, Dee. You guys, I'm glad y'all could make it. I didn't mean for this to go on so long. I just want to do the updates and get the prayers out for them two people. What I'd mentioned earlier for you guys, for Daniel in Australia and Stacy in Oregon. They're both under demonic attack. Daniel's dealing with a lot, PTSD, addiction, and everything that the dark one brings to you when you're not wrapped in the loving arms of God. All of them bad events that come along with being too close to the enemy, too close to Satan. Both of these people are dealing with it. So y'all, please pray for them. We got to get them up and on the white and bright side of things, and where the Lord wants us to be, not where he hopes us to be. Yeah, we're going to, Angela, we are going to bring Scott on again. I'll probably bring him on in January sometime. Michael, thank you. I'm going to put that up there. That honors me, what Michael's saying. He just decided, Donnie, I love Standing Goats Rescue. I think it's wonderful what you're doing with the goats. Thank you so very much. God bless you. Thank you. We're doing this because we believe Holy Spirit led us to do this. And I questioned it in the beginning because we barely survived. We do all of this off of a disability check. And my income has not changed. I still live off a disability check. And before we started doing the goats, we had roughly $40 left over each month. And that $40 was what we used for gas and food, groceries for the month. Everything else was ate up in bills. Now we got probably 60 head of goats. We've actually been chewed out 3 times by our veterinarian because our goats are considered obese. They are overweight. All the animals are fed. Everybody's fed. All of our bills are paid. We even added 2 extra bills, one of them being the internet and one of them being a tractor payment. And we have a little bit of money left over each month. How do you explain that? It doesn't add up. You put it on paper and we're in the negative almost $600. And even to this day, you put it on paper, we're in the negative. And we do not sell the goats. There's no profit to be made on them. If we were to profit from them, we'd be going against what we were called to do. But just trying to be obedient. Our Father takes care of us and he provides it. And he's the master mathematician. So I will not question it. My math is completely false because his math, everything's paid, and I worry because it's my human nature. I am a worrier, but we make it. We make it every month. Praise God. I'm just seeing what I'm going to put up. Oh, thank you, Butch. Butch says, what a great show. Like always. Thank you so much. Tina, I don't know how you put them goats up there. I haven't figured out how to do it on here yet. Yep, Meredith, 19 years sober in AA. God bless you. Hallelujah. God is so good. Oh, where'd you go? Oh, Carla says good night. Thank you for coming and joining us, Carla. Thank all of you guys. Honestly, I mean, you guys what make the channel what it is. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have made it this far and be doing the things that we're doing. And the guests that we're bringing on, I mean, we're getting some wonderful people come on here. You know, it was an honor that Scott Carpenter accepted my invitation to come on. I was so pleased with that. But I was able to get in touch with Scott through you guys and through Mark from Livewire. Mark's my buddy. That's my brother there. And you guys need to go over and And check him out. Subscribe if you haven't. That's Livewire on YouTube. Mark's good people. He can show you some stuff that'll blow your mind that he's dealt with. Yeah, Ron Wyatt's videos are awesome. Also, the screenshots or the game camera pictures I had, the light that was shining down on the deer, and the light that was, I think it was two more pictures of it getting closer to the camera. One of our YouTube family has sent them off to I can't remember that guy's name, but he's going to go through them, and if there's somebody in the background or there's anything set up there, drone or anything doing that, he'll be able to find it. And I told her, I said, yeah, please do send it. I'd love to know. And whatever he can find in it, she's going to let me know. And she's supposed to give him my contact information, and whatever they come up with, I'll share that with you and let you know. Martha found the goats. Where y'all finding the goats at? Everybody's putting goats in the chat, and I haven't been able to do that. Meredith, thank you so much. Brother Mark. We have really, just, we're blessed, all of us. You guys, me and my family here at my home, my family here on YouTube. I mean, we're so blessed. I mean, look at the people that we have. This is us. We're one unit. And, like, I can't say enough about Mark with Livewire. You guys see him on the channel, but behind the scenes, he's the same man. But Mark will give everything he has to a stranger in need, someone in need of help. He is that good of a person. He sounds kind of rough, but he's not. He's straightforward. Mark's to the point. He don't beat around the bush, just like Steve on howtohunt.com. And Steve can be pretty rough. All right, Mark, I will check my email here in a little bit. Thank you so much. So good to see you guys. Martha says, good night, Tina. Blessings. Good night to you, sis. Pappy, I didn't notice you on there. Thank you, buddy. My brother, Pappy. Pappy, I just seen your thing popped up in my email yesterday that you had a birthday on Saturday. Happy birthday. I was going to message you yesterday, and we've been so busy. I completely forgot about it. Oh, forgive me, please. There's Stephanie. I'm glad you're here. And you got the goats. Everybody's got goats. I don't know how y'all are doing that. Oh, I don't know how to, or in the motor comes under the chat. I have to figure out how to do that. I'm behind. Archaeos has them. All of you guys, doggone it. I'll figure it out. I love it. But guys, thank y'all for joining me tonight. I didn't mean to keep y'all this long. I wanted to share, the prayer requests for them two people and just touch base with you. Thank you so much, Pam. But I get carried away. I mean, you guys are family to me. Y'all are true friends. And no matter how many times you can ride by my house, you'll never find anybody over here but me and Kim and Rosie and my sister Tina sometimes. I'm kind of a loner at home. When I got hurt and everybody was coming to visit me so they could steal my medication, they had me on pain pills a long time ago. And when I seen what everybody was doing, I deleted them off my contact list of my phone, and I went the other way. I thought these people were my true friends, and they aren't. And thank God I did it, because the Lord led me here to where you guys are, and it's just been a blessing. And John's got the goats. You guys, doggone it. I'm going to figure it out. But thank y'all. I'm not going to hold you up no more. Let you guys get your rest tonight. Be looking forward. We're going to have a show this coming week. Tuesday or Wednesday, if I can get him to come on earlier, I will. And I'll post an update if I can get him to come on earlier. And it is a show with encounters. He's had 3 encounters, I believe, and maybe more than that, but I'm thinking it was 3. He's had 3 that are up close and personal, like in your face up close. And he's going to be sharing those encounters. I don't know if he's going to do all 3 of them on one show, depending on how long it takes. I'm not going to keep our guests on all night. I'll sit here and chat till the sun comes up, but I don't want to do that with our guests. And I'll be posting a video with Tina, my sister, to introduce her. And for any of you guys that are looking for land or homes in this area, she does real estate. She is saved. She is Christian. And if she's, whatever she tells you, you can count on it as being truth. She's not going to hide from anything. She's not going to beat around the bush, and she's not going to lie to you. She's my baby sister, and I'd give my life for her without ever thinking about it. It's not even a question that I would even consider. It's done. If it's me or her, it's me. I'll take the bullet. But guys, thank y'all for being here. Pappy, thank you so much for showing up. And Butch and Brett and John, all of you guys, Mindy, Nana. I didn't think I'd see you here tonight, Nana. Thank you so much for coming on. Click the smiley face under where you type in the chat. I will definitely check it out. Absolutely, because I got to find the goats. Everybody's got them but me. Southern Sasquatch Denise, thank you. Brother Jeff, thank you so much. Thank all of y'all for being here. I mean, you guys made my night. And I may get a video up tomorrow. I've got a lot of footage. I had to take a lot off my phone. Phone's running behind. But I got a media mod. I put on the GoPro, and I can run an external mic. And just a lot of... it opens up more possibilities for putting out better quality videos, and it is coming. I may get one up tomorrow, but I'm going to try to get my sister on hopefully sometime this week. Are you listening, Tina? I'm talking to you, Tina LaMonica. I got to get you on here. This is my family here on YouTube I've been telling you about, and you need to come on and so we can introduce you, and maybe some of these guys that are looking for land will come on and get some land from you, get you to hook them up with a good place. Thank all of you guys. And Gene says, blessings to you and everyone in the chat. Thank you, Gene. Thank you so much. And you guys seen it right here. Tina's agreed right there. She agreed that we'll get her on. We'll get it to where she can introduce herself, and we'll get her out here. We got to get her name out on YouTube. Any of you guys, if you know anybody looking for land in the panhandle of Florida, or looking for a home, a big home, a small home, a business home, anything, if you know somebody looking, please send them to Tina's direction. I'm going to put all of her stuff on the channel. Maybe I can get her to break loose for a little bit tomorrow, and I can get over there and we can get something put together right quick. I just want to help her out and bless her. And if anyone decides to pick up some land or a home from her, you know, it'll bless her and her family. And that's what we're all about. We got to bless each other and just cover each other's backs until the Lord comes to get us. And once we get there, he's going to cover our backs and we'll be good to go. Y'all have a wonderful night. God bless each and every one of you. And thank you again for being here. I love you. I honor you. And until next time, you guys be safe always.